Welcome to Coding Blind Tech. Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome to Coding Blind Tech, and in this video we're going to get started with AI. So now Visual Studio Code out of the box comes with AI, and we are going to first take a look at the inline suggestions. They typically show up in your ghost text, and I'm going to show you a couple of them, how you can navigate them with the screen reader. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Visual Studio Code. So I'm inside of my Ubuntu terminal right now. I'm just going to cd into my code folder, and we're just going to create a new folder.
Coding Blind Tech at left.
All right, so I'm inside of my code folder, and I know that if I do pwd and then hit enter
/home/coding blind tech /code. Coding Blind Tech at left.
And there we hear the path and then where we're at. So now I'm going to make a new directory. So it's M as in Mike, K, D as in Delta, I, R, and then space. So mkdir, so mkdir space, and then we're going to type YouTube dash VS Code dash AI.
Coding Blind Tech.
All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to type the word code, or actually I'm going to cd into that folder.
CD 2.
And then we'll go into VS Code.
Code-AI/Coding Blind Tech.
Now I'm going to type code space
Code.
And then period.
Visual Studio Code window. Document. Application. Info : starting VS Code in WSL left paren. Ubuntu right paren, : starting.
All right, it lets me know that we're starting up in WSL.
Toolbar, chat input left.
All right, and then everything's good to go. The chat toolbar is already open. I'm gonna close that sidebar with Control-Alt-B.
Secondary sidebar hidden.
All right, and so now I'm going to
Context.
Go down to the terminal. So I'm gonna do that with Control-Grav, or the Grav key is above your tab key.
Terminal 1, use Alt plus F1 for terminal access.
All right, so now we're in our terminal. Whenever I come into my terminal, I always clear, just a habit.
Clear. Command.
All right, and then now what I'm going to do is we're going to create a Python file. So I'm just going to type echo greater than and then main.py.
Main.
So no spaces.
Py. Coding.
And I hit enter. Now if we do Control-Shift-E.
Files exploit level 1 main.py not.
I'm going to go to main.py and hit enter.
Main landmark. Info : do you want to install the recommended Python tick extension?
All right, I'm not going to install any recommended Python extensions, but we're going to, so this is where I can show you the inline suggestions. So again, software development is changing, so I suggest lean into AI. Let AI help you learn the fundamentals in an accelerated pace and at your own pace, really. And then utilize AI to help you understand systems and then keep moving on it from there. So, but we are going to look at just a couple things with how you can use it. So again, we're inside of a Python file, so I'm just going to type a question, right? So I'm going to do the number sign to do a comment. I'm going to hit space, and then I'm going to type capital Q. And I'm
what is the capital of France? What is lambda?
You already hear it there. You hear the suggestion starting to happen.
Number Q : what is a Python variable?
All right, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit enter to go to the next line.
Number a : a Python variable is a name that refers to a value. It is used to store data that can be used later in the program. Variables can be assigned different types of values, such as numbers, strings, lists, etc. They are created by using the assignment operator left paren equals right paren, and can be accessed by their name. Inspect this in the accessible view left paren, Alt plus F2 right paren.
Okay, so I wanted you to listen to all of that because That doesn't actually exist on the screen yet. That is just in a view to where if I press tab, it will accept that suggestion and then it will actually put it in text in the editor. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to press tab and then I'm going to read my current line.
Number A colon, a Python variable is a name that refers to a value dot. It is used to store data that can be used.
All right, and you see there now A
Blank.
is our answer, and it's that right there is basically everything you need to know about variables in Python. And you could always take that and put it in Google and research facts to make sure that it's correct. But that is a quick way for you to get some feedback right here inside the editor. Now, I know at the very end there, it said that we could review it in accessible view. So I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. So let's come down here and I'm going to type,
Example of a Python.
I'm going to do a comment, hashtag, or number sign, space, and then I'm going to say
Caps example.
a function
Function is a block of
that
D
adds
adds. Oh, number 2. Yes, very
variables together.
are together.
All right, and I'm just going to press enter.
Def add line variables left paren, var1 comma, var2 right paren, colon, return var1 plus var2 comma, inspect this in the.
All right, so you hear there, it's saying, okay, we're going to create a function, and the suggestion that it gives is, oh, well, wait, we just forgot, but we can see it if we press tab, but maybe we don't want to go through undo and all of that, right? So I'm just going to press Alt F2.
Accessible view.
And this puts me in the accessible view, and I'm going to go to the top of it.
Def add line variables left paren.
And see, now we have it to where we can actually move around and see it. So now I'm going to go word by word.
Add line def.
So def.
Add line variables.
Add underscore variables.
Left paren.
And then we see that it starts its left parentheses and takes in two arguments.
var1, comma, var2.
All right. And then so we have those two. And then if I down arrow.
4 space return var1 plus var2.
Return var1 plus var2. Okay, so now if I hit escape out of the accessible view.
Main landmark.
And I'm going to hit tab.
Def add line variable.
And what happened is it lost the focus and now it's just re-suggesting the same thing. So I'm going to press tab again. And to prove that to you, I can read my current line.
4 space blank.
And you hear it actually added the indentation. So I'm going to do it again. And now I'm going to read my current line.
Return var1 plus var2.
And then it put me at the end of that, on the last line of the function, which there's only one line in this function, so I'm going to up arrow.
No indent def add line variables left paren, var1 comma, var2 right paren, colon. 4 space return var1 plus var2.
And then return var1 plus var2. Now watch this. So I'm going to go to the end of my line and hit enter twice, just like you normally would do.
Number a function that multiplies two variables together dot comma, inspect this.
Right, so now it's suggesting more of what we're trying to do here, right? But let's actually say that we wanted to go ahead and, be done with this, and now we want to actually be able to run it. So let's just, think about this from a beginner's perspective. Say, we know how to create a comment, so number sign,
a function,
and then I'm just gonna say now
I want to run
it.
If result equals add line variables left paren, 5 comma, 10 right paren, comma, inspect this in the accessible view left.
All right, so there it's actually creating a variable and assigning that function to a variable and then passing in the numbers. I'm going to hit tab and then read my current line.
No indent result equals add line variables left paren, 5 comma, 10 right paren, print left paren, result right paren, number this.
All right, and then when you heard that at the end right there, print result, so that actually was the new suggestion, and it can get a little tricky. You have to get used to learning what you're listening for. But you can always, one thing you can always depend on is you can read your current line.
Result equals add line variables left paren, 5 comma, 10 right paren.
And we see there, or we hear there, I keep saying that But we hear there, so result equals, and then we do our add integers,
Result equals add line variables left.
add underscore variable, sorry, and then we
Result
pass
equals add line
in
variables left paren 5 comma 10.
5 and 10. Awesome. Okay, and then you heard that next suggestion. It's going to want to print, so I'm just going to go to the end of this line,
Blank.
press enter. All right, here's a perfect example of when we need to do Alt F2. It didn't say it, I assume what it is, but I'm going to press Alt F2.
Accessible view print left paren, result right paren,
And then
number
when
this
I
will out.
read the current line, it actually is telling me what it's going to do up top. So I'm going to hit escape.
Mainline.
And remember, we have to press tab.
Print left paren.
And then we have to press tab again.
Print left paren, result right paren, number this will output.
All right, and then when I read the current line, it tells me that it's going to print.
B. Left paren, result, left paren, result, right paren, number.
It has a comment afterwards.
Space,
I'm going to
space,
that.
right paren, space, number this 5.
And I'm going to save. Okay, so now if we run this file, so I'm going to drop down to my terminal.
Terminal 1 comma.
And I'm going to do Python 3
Python
space,
3
and then
main
dot py. I'm going to hit enter.
Terminal 1 comma, Python 3 use Alt plus F1.
All right, and I'm going to hit Alt F2 to review the output.
Access, coding blind tech 15, coding blind 15.
All right, and we see or hear 15. All right, so that is how we use our inline suggestions. So that's getting started with AI. I hope you learned something in this one, and stay tuned for more AI videos, and I will see you in the next one.